Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button if you guys are enjoying the content that we're throwing up. And make sure you guys hit the like button if you enjoy the video. And yeah, let's begin. What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and it's here. It is here right now. Let me tell you something. The ending, really, like, not really even the ending of Venom, right? Just like we're here at the end of the King in Black, right? Not officially, right? This is Venom number 34. This is the last Venom story before King in Black ends. The very last Venom story comes out after this, dude. But this story is lit. All right, this story it's so good, right? It's so amazing. Okay, so to get you guys caught up, those of you guys who are a little bit behind here, right? To get you guys caught up, we're basically picking up here with Flash Thompson. Right now, one of the things that was established here is that everybody who's ever been a host for a symbiote that was in some form or fashion tied to Knull. So in the case of Flash Thompson, he was actually a host for the Venom symbiote itself, that essentially a codex is left behind in your body. And so when you die, your essence, so to speak, kind of goes to the realm of Knull, right? And so that's why Flash Thompson is more or less alive, not in a literal form, but kind of in the sense that, like, his memory is basically what it is, was kind of reformed in the world of Knull, in the sense that he kind of was able to take on like a dragon form. It's a little weird, it's a little wonky. Watch the last video and it'll all make sense. But you basically got Flash Thompson, kind of Agent Anti-Venom, who's like just this giant dragon form, fighting off the dragons of Knull. And then you have Knull himself going after Eddie Brock. Now, again, this really kind of takes place in the realm of Knull. It's not really here in the real world, but it's one of these things where Eddie's constantly kind of been on this move to try to find ways to defeat Knull, to take out Knull. And initially, the only real opportunity they had when they were in Knull's realm was to basically like free the different symbiotes that had been liberated, right? Or at least been captured, right? To kind of free them and allow them to go forward and almost kind of try to turn the tables against Knull. But that was caught on super fast, and Knull immediately shows up and then goes to attack Eddie Brock. And so when that happens, Eddie's able to fight him off, at least for a moment or two, or at least create a distraction. But Knull, at the end of the day, kind of continues to get the upper hand, and we expect that, right? Knull's astronomically powerful. He's a guy with the ability to like ensnare celestials into his all black and all that kind of stuff. And so he basically tells Eddie, like, I've conquered your world, right? And then I'm going to destroy your world. There's nothing you can do to stop me, right? Like there really isn't, at least not for Eddie himself. And so when that happens, he starts bonding Eddie to a symbiote, right? And it's just kind of like, you know, this symbiote will take over you. I'm tired of playing these games. I'm tired of chasing after you and you somehow trying to get the upper hand on me. I'm going to do what I should have done in the beginning. My symbiote is going to take you over. And when it does, you are going to become one of my servants. And then when that happens, he just drops Eddie and allows the symbiote to take hold. Here's the funny thing about this, right? Like Eddie kind of has this amazing monologue when he says it, right? He says, every moment in my life repeats itself. When I walked into that church, the world fell black around me. And then I was beaten time and time again, like when I was a child. And now those sins, that darkness that lived inside me, that have now rained down on the earth like they did on me all those years ago, it will start again with the world, with my son. It's all part of the cycle. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. And as he's going through this monologue, and as he's really kind of musing this idea that his life struggle is almost kind of a reflection of what's happening out there, right? In the sense of like the world is falling apart, the world's being conquered by what seems to be this insurmountable force that nobody can stand against. Suddenly, a voice chimes in. Eddie, are you there? Can you hear me? It's the Venom symbiote, man. Like the Venom symbiote found Eddie, right? Like it was originally taken by Knull, and it's just kind of been biding its time, waiting to find Eddie, and it broke free, right? So like now the Venom symbiote's bonded back to Eddie Brock's memory. And as soon as that happens, it bolts. And Knull's just like, no! Knull's so pissed, right? Because he thought it was destroyed. Like he thought that symbiote was kind of destroyed, captured, whatever. Now, the immediate question that's answered by Donny Cates in writing this is, how is it that the symbiote can bond itself to Eddie if Eddie's physical body is out there in the real world? And this is answered by saying, like, it's basically just a memory, right? That's the nature of a codex. The codex is the memory of the person who was the host of the symbiote at one point in time. And so outside the realm of Knull and in the real world, this codex of Eddie Brock would be intangible, right? It wouldn't really be able to interact with anything. But inside the realm of Knull, and because of the fact that it's a symbiote, it basically bonds itself to the memory, right? So it's like bonding yourself to an intangible thing. And then in turn, it just kind of like breaks out into the real world and says like, we have to go to the real world. We have to find your physical body. We have to fight Knull out there. And so basically they leave the realm of Knull due to the power of the symbiote and then emerge out into the real world. And when that happens, Eddie Brock takes on this massive form. And when I say massive, I mean like enormous, right? He's got to be like 500 or 600 feet tall, right? He's huge. Now, size does not always equal strength, right? And so while he is huge and everything, in relation to Knull, he's still fairly weak. And that's the crazy thing, because Flash Thompson comes flying in and is like, dude, is that you? And he's like, yeah, man, it's me, dude. And he's like, okay, do you need some help? He's like, nope, I got this, right? I have this on my own. Eddie goes immediately after Knull and he tells Flash, he asks him, like, do you remember what happened to Cletus when he got a dragon symbiote? And the response of Flash is like, I wasn't alive for that, right? Like I was dead when that happened. I wasn't here for that. And Eddie's like, go find out, right? Like, it's like, believe me, you want to go find out what happened? I got this, right? So he kind of sends Flash Thompson on his own mission. At that point, Eddie immediately goes after Knull. And for the most part, like the symbiote's telling him, like, no, like, do not go after Knull. And we don't get an initial reason why, right? The reality kind of seems to be that the symbiote's like, you're not in a position to face off against Knull yet. But the truth is that something's coming, right? The God of Light is coming. And we remember this from the last video, right? We remember this from the last video. Remember this from the last video. The God of Light is coming. And it comes swooping in, right? And the symbiote's like, look, right? Like this is it, Eddie. Like this is what we were warned about, right? The God of Light is finally here. Like I felt him, right? He's kind of like us, but different. His light is approaching, blinding, screaming, roaring, like just like literally just ripping right through there, right? And then as soon as that happens, it bonds itself to the memory of Eddie, and then the memory of Eddie is yanked away from the symbiote, and he's kind of like do not leave me again, right? And the symbiote's like, no, I will find you, right? I always find you. I will find you, Eddie Brock. And then like the memory of Eddie is ripped apart, right? It's literally torn apart. And then at that moment, you switch back over to the body of Eddie that's in the possession of Reed Richards and all these other guys, and you jump back to the ending of the last video that we did, where you basically end up learning that this force of energy had always been misunderstood by the superheroes, right? That this energy source has recognized by Reed Richards. They've seen it a million times before. They've just been calling it by the wrong name. That the Enigma force has finally been solved. This is Eddie Brock becoming Captain Universe, and it's the craziest thing ever, son. Like literally it bonds itself, because the Captain Universe basically like talks to Eddie, right? It talks to him and says, like, you've been chosen to be the protector of your world and the savior of the universe, right? So what form do you want, Eddie Brock? Tell me the form that you want to choose, right? It's crazy, because he's like, there's only ever been one answer to that question. But before we find out what that answer is, we switch over to Flash Thompson. So Agent Anti-Venom Flash Thompson is just like flying, through the cemetery, finding out what happened to Cletus Cassidy when he was bonded to a dragon symbiote. And it's just kind of nuts, because when he's in Arlington, he talks about how like this power is kind of different, right? It's ancient, it's strange, and somehow it's a little bit familiar. This dragon goes diving down into one of the graves, and then it basically has like Flash Thompson talking about like he doesn't really know what he is. He doesn't know if it'll be enough to beat back the void, but all he knows is that he's back, right? That win or lose, good or bad, light or dark, that everything is about to change. And what we end up having here is Flash Thompson's hand reaching out from the grave. Flash Thompson's coming back, y'all. Agent Venom is coming back, son, and I have no idea what it means. But with that being said, guys, we're gonna bring this video to an end. If you are new here to Comics Explained, make sure you guys hit the sub button to become part of the Rob Corps. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like, and I will catch you all later. Peace.